You know, I'll run the stream intro just for the funsies. Alright, I know I just woke up, but I feel like doing a reaction just because. So welcome into the stream. In fact, let me just notify people that I'm live. So I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions real quick. Let me just do a little... Let me just find a little text thing. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and do my little predictions for the playoff. Let me just, so I'm gonna give out my predictions for the playoff. So my number one, I got Indiana, and then number two, and then for my number two, I got Georgia, and then for my number three, I got Texas Tech. I've been wheezing so much last night, that's why my voice is a little messed up. And then at my number four, I'm going to go with Ohio State, just because they only lost by 3. And then at number 5, I got Oregon. And then 6 through 10 is going to be a little tough. At number 6, let me see the playoff rankings right now. Let's see what's the playoff rankings look like right now. Number 6. Number 6, I'm gonna go. Not Oregon. Ole Miss. And then for the 7th seed, actually no, for the 6th seed I got A&M. And then for the 7th seed I'm going to go with Oklahoma. And then for my 8th seed I'm going to go Ole Miss. And now for my number 9, I'm gonna go with Notre Dame, bro. All right, I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. And then for my number 10, I'm gonna go with Miami. And then 11 is gonna be Tulane, and 12 is gonna be James Madison. I know y'all can't really tell right now, but I'm gonna make it smaller. So my prediction is on my right screen. I got Indiana at number 1, Georgia at number 2, Texas Tech at 3, Ohio State at 4, Oregon at 5, A&M at 6, Oklahoma at 7, Ole Miss at 8, 9 Notre Dame, 10 Miami, 11 Tulane, and 12 James Madison. So we are just about to begin the ranking reveal. So turn this TV up a bit.
But to say that these games can't hurt you, since we've been doing this, they've hurt you. Like, this wouldn't be some precedent, Like, this has been done. Like, you'll give me some stats out of three where you mentioned, like, what the average of that team losing. Yeah, if you lose, you average, right? Well, by the way, how about that last year? You got, like, 2 spots. Since we've been doing with the committee, so like this has been done, right? So like all I would say is they would say this is going to do away with the conference championship. I would just say prepare for and Alabama was last night on my stage. Somebody's going to be upset for that. But that had a valid reason to be. What about the teams like Sam and the college? Like, you got getting a second and last week. They still got a chance. Alabama did that in 2017 when they got the college.
Alright, it's 11 o'clock for me. They should begin in 1 minute. I'll join the VC with some of my friends if they want to join.
That's the conversation, and that's the one that I'm
Let me make this a little smaller. Alright, here we go. We're about to begin. Here we go.
And the committee is faced with the most difficult and controversial decision in the history of the playoff. On Championship Saturday, 2 thrilling conference title games, one of them in the Big Ten, certainly established a new #1 team in the bracket, the Big Ten champion Indiana. Squeeze the ACC out altogether. But it was a giant dud of a game that could just mean more in long-term ramifications. Georgia's beatdown of Alabama in the SEC could pop the Tide's bubble while opening the door for both Notre Dame and Miami to find a spot in the bracket. But that comes with potentially earth-shaking impact on the future postseason framework. The decisions are due.
All right, here we go. We're about to see who gets in.
Teams in the college football playoff, and it's reviewed exclusively in moments. Welcome to the College Football Playoff Selection Show.
Here we go. We're about to begin.
The day has arrived, and the bracket is empty and will not stay that way for long. A 12-member committee in Grapevine, Texas, had, in my judgment, the most difficult decision in the history of the playoff, not just the 12-team years in which we are in the second, but also in the 4-team era. There's no right answer here. Only wrong ones need apply, or at least there are better and worse answers. How did they arrive? There are a lot of people waiting with anticipation to find out what their playoff fate is. Some hanging in the balance, some breaking through for the first time. And we have people all over the country, 11 different reporters waiting for reaction to what the committee's decisions are We'll talk about the teams who are sitting right on the notably Alabama, Notre Dame, Miami primarily. Could there be other surprises?
Alabama should get out, to be honest. Because I picked 3 teams to do a funny in the conference championship weekend, that being Georgia, Duke, and Indiana. And all 3 of those won, so I'm expecting Alabama to get out.
We're ready to go. Let's go. All right, let's do it. This is going to be really, this is a different decision, brother. And I'm not trying to absolve the committee of anything. That's why they're there. But there could be consequences no matter what they decide at the end of the draft.
There's going to be consequences. And every time you have a subjective measure like this, you have to have something to stand on. The resumes are complete right now. And all the process long, we've been comparing Miami and Notre Dame, and the head-to-head's been talked about. Well, now that the resumes are complete, it's time to bring Alabama into this conversation. 10-3 Alabama, who they lost to, how they lost yesterday. And so I can't wait to see how this community brings Alabama in comparison to Notre Dame and Miami.
They lost to Florida State.
Some resumes were complete before yesterday. Let's keep that in mind. This is the
They lost to Florida State. They lost to Oklahoma again.
This is the first year I'd like to have more. Give me more. There are teams that
JMU has to get in anyway. They're a freaking champion.
there are teams that want to go into this playoff that could absolutely get in and win it, but they got hot. I wish we could expand it again. We only get 12. That's a tough decision.
It's brutal, and like you said, I mean, whatever team's left out amongst those 3 could theoretically win 4 games in a row and they chase a championship. I think Alabama's in. I feel pretty confident in that because they created that precedent last year of how they handled SMU. They did not want to de-incentivize participation in a conference championship games. So I think Bama's in a good spot, which takes us to the conversation between Notre Dame and Miami. In an effort to have better perspective on that matchup, I went back and watched that game in week 1.
Bro, Bama's not getting in.
They didn't know their offensive identity, and they have since improved greatly. If they play tomorrow, I pick Notre Dame to win that game. But they don't play tomorrow. They played in week 1, and I went back and watched it, and Miami handled them along both lines of scrimmage. And I think if the committee went back and refreshed their memory on what that game looked like, they might lean towards the Hurricanes that we got. That is what they had not done that in any of their rankings up to this point. And with neither of them playing, that would be a question to be answered if, in fact, that's the decision that they ended up making. Kirk Herbstreit is with us now. Kirk, you've watched this from the beginning. You've covered this sport and been part of the sport your entire life. What are your expectations and what level of controversy do you expect regardless of the decision that's made by the committee?
Good morning. Yeah, you guys are all over. Let's not forget Duke winning as well. So more than likely get an opportunity to see Tulane and JMU. More than likely, I would think, get into this thing. But I think how they handled BYU, BYU losing a bonus game, as Greg just alluded to, they're going to be punished for losing the second time to Texas Tech. They're putting Miami right next to Notre Dame. That would give Miami the head-to-head. They would clamored about for weeks and weeks. That would be the first time they'd be right next to each other. That would put Miami on. And I think, Brooke, I'm with you. I think it's more of a Notre Dame-Alabama debate. I think that's probably what's giving them the most headaches throughout the night and trying to figure out, well, Notre Dame has this eye test, they're playing really great football. Yeah, but Alabama went to Athens. They went to Athens and beat the same team they lost to in the bonus round. So, Greg, I think...
Okay, and why does that matter? They lost to Florida State and Oklahoma.
I just think Alabama, it's interesting to see how they handle that when it comes to that big data point of going to Georgia and winning that game. That's going to be interesting to see how they decipher between Georgia beating it yesterday and Alabama winning in Athens.
But Kirk, how would you evaluate these teams? And not just in terms of picking a winner, but like what would you value the most in evaluating teams who are close together and both have different points on their resumes or on their body score?
Well, I just think if it's Miami and Notre Dame, I think the head-to-head finally at the end of this, when the dust settles, I think they're close enough where the head-to-head comes into play. I think that's a significant data point that will give Miami a nod. Just based on the way they've taught us over these years, I think that if they're 2 or 3 spots away, I don't think head-to-head will come into play. But I do think if you get close enough, I think that's a pretty strong argument. Obviously, head-to-head should matter. Then I think with Notre Dame and Alabama, that's so difficult. I mean, and Joey's right. You can take Texas into that argument, Vanderbilt into that argument. It's very, very tough. How do you separate those teams? Because I think we all love.
I'm tired of this talking, bro. I just want to get to the thing.
I mean, you could say, yeah, but who have they beaten during this 10-game winning streak? What really stands out? They hit the pick, they beat USC. Is that enough when you still have the most significant thing to me? And I think again, Greg alluded to it. Going into Georgia, you could argue that's maybe the best win of the year across the entire country for any team. That's what, for me, I would be really struggling with. Eye test with Notre Dame against inferior opponents, or that impressive win by Alabama. I'll be very candid. Alabama's been leaking oil, in my opinion, during the last 2 or 3, 4 weeks, especially offensively. But will that matter when it comes to still, is just looking at the entire season, the fact that they had one of the best wins in the country going into Georgia beat.
It'll also be interesting to see where Vanderbilt is, because we might wind up with 2 of the better wins. Both of them will be better than Notre Dame. There's no question you watch them play right now.
Let me just fix this real quick. That way it won't be in the...
And the Tide does, particularly on offense. Nick Saban is with us now, 7-time national champion. Nick, as you look at the end of the line here, what's the best way to evaluate teams? We have teams like Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama, and even Vanderbilt, Texas, BYU, who have things in their favor, but it's not really as clear-cut. What would you do in terms of best evaluating these teams?
Well, I think it's very clear that there are 7 teams that have established themselves as the 7 best teams, and even Oklahoma to me.
All right, so I've fixed my little predictions right there.
Notre Dame started out not so good, not great schedule down the line, but playing very well and looked from an eye test looked like a great team. And you got Miami, who finished strong but stubbed their toe in the middle. Then you got Alabama, who probably had the most impressive run in the middle of the season when they beat Georgia, and then beat 3 or 4 more ranked teams at the time, all in a row. And now lately, for whatever reasons, injuries are a part of the game, and you have to be able to overcome them. They're not playing as well as they did earlier in the season. And then you have arguments for people like Vanderbilt and Texas, and even maybe BYU, and the whole question of how does playing in a conference championship game really impact the season. When other people are staying home, and how can they get pushed ahead of you because of that? So there's a lot of issues. Right now, if we had AI and they had all the information, they would have one hell of a time trying to figure out what this committee's got to figure out in terms of this last
What is Saban saying, bro?
That's the point, Nick. I think there's going to be long-lasting ramifications no matter what they decide. What impact would it have on the conference championship games if Alabama's left out? What impact is it going to have on scheduling? Should Miami be left out? And Notre Dame, are they going to look at them and say, well, you're not even, there's not even a possibility of playing in a conference championship game, but still, it's Notre Dame. You leave it out, and you also have evaluated the entire time of the ranking, then you think they're better than Miami. So there are a lot of things to deal with. Now, 5 reporters in different places, different levels of controversy. Molly McGrath is with the ACC champions there. This is probably a long shot. You've got Marty McGrath against Dana there, maybe looking for a spot in the playoff. But let's start with Marty Smith, where Alabama is probably most anxious today, Marty.
Indeed, Reese, good morning. If you look at 3 key metrics that the CFP committee must consider right now, is strength of record.
We played, they didn't.
FBI. Alabama is the only team in the United States of America that ranks in the top 10 in all 3 of them right now. I just left Kalen DeBoer's office. He makes it very clear. We should not be penalized for earning the right to play in the conference championship game in the toughest conference in the country as the number 1 seed.
Let me guess, they're going to put Alabama in anyway.
There should be no penalty for earning the right to play in that game, especially, he added, while other teams under consideration today were sitting at home watching. We'll see what happens in a few minutes. Let's head up to South Bend, Indiana, with Jim Latta with the Irish.
Good morning, Marty. Yeah, here on campus, the Notre Dame players and coaches are gathering to watch the selection show. Their confidence is very high. They are confident in the resume that they put together. Those 2 losses at the beginning of the season, just by a combined 4 points to Miami and Texas A&M. They also think that those 10 wins that they strung together at the end of the season were dominant wins by an average of 30 points or more. That's best in the country over that time. And just a few moments ago, I heard from quarterback C.J. Carr, who said this, guys: "We have continued to elevate on both sides of the ball. We believe we are one of the elite teams in the country, and we deserve an opportunity to prove it on the field." That's the story here in South Bend. Let's go to Chris Buzzard, who is standing by with the Hurricanes.
Hi, Jen. Here in Miami, there is optimism and confidence based on what happened yesterday in Miami's resume, but there's also frustration.
Should not be a debate.
This morning, understanding why are we even having this debate when you look at all of the metrics of strength of record, same schedule, the identical metrics, the common opponents, and of course the head-to-head, which is really what matters against Notre Dame. And if you look, since this format started, there's been 13 instances of head-to-head that were played in the regular season with the same record heading into championship weekend. In every single one of those, except for one, the team that won the regular season matchup was retired. That one instance is this same instance in Miami and Notre Dame. While there's uncertainty here in Miami, there is elsewhere in the ACC as well. Trying to mind of that, Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Well, the Blue Devils had the day off today to rest after a late-night overtime thriller in the ACC title game. But head coach Manny Diaz told his players to stay by their phones today just in case. So they're saying there's a chance. Diaz is watching the selection show at home with his family, but argued that Duke should be in over JMU because of their strength of schedule and JMU's lack of a Power 4 win. Whereas the Blue Devils just beat a top 20 team that had 1 kill.
Bro, Duke has 5 losses. Why would they get in?
How confident are they over there, James Madison?
Well, Molly, how dare Reese to pit us against each other, but there's certainly some extra emotion from Coach Bob Chesney, who made it official yesterday that he will be the new head coach at UCLA. He did confirm if James Madison hears their name called this afternoon, he will coach this team through the playoff berth. And while no official watch party was held Saturday night ahead of the ACC championship game, star running back Wayne Knight did storm the quad on campus after Duke was announced as the ACC champion. And in this morning, Bob Chesney stating his case, saying we're the best group of 5 school, and it's not even close.
They're figuratively speaking on activity against one another. This is a team. One man.
Alabama's probably going to get in now that I think about it, but I hope they don't.
These are the selection principles for the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Strictest schedule, head-to-head. Mario Cristobal been pointing to that one. Comparative outcomes against common opponents. Miami's pointing to that against Alabama, too, comparing the Florida State games. And unavailability of key players. Effective pass performance or postseason performance. An interesting note there because of the calendar. When whoever winds up in the field, you're going to have at least half of the team who will be without either their head coach or their head coach is moving on, or an offensive defensive coordinator or assistant head coach is moving on. Because over half the field, no matter how it comes out. In some cases, both coordinators are going. Oregon's going to be in. Both coordinators are going to be on move. Still coaching now, I get that, but being most united is when you are the most distracted. Never distracted is Heather Bennett, who comes to college football playoff for us. So Heather, and I'm not trying to absolve the committee. This is the business they've chosen. They've signed up for this. This is going to be a very controversial decision, no matter what they decide. What's it been like in the committee?
It's been tense. Look, they met until 2:30 in the morning local time with most of their focus, debate, and discussion focusing on those 3 teams, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami. But it is important to remember the context of this season, how they've talked about them. While everyone outside the room is focusing on the head-to-head between Notre Dame and Miami, in the room this season, they've been focused on Alabama and Notre Dame.
Let me check to see what Bryce and Jalen are doing.
Against Georgia very poorly opens the door for debate. They will certainly
Fire at him, fire at him, just fire.
What's up,
I
guys?
died. Oh, it's Ian. Oh, that's Miles. Or Ian. Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah, it's Ian, you dumbass. Yeah, it spawned me, even though you do the thing where it spawned me behind them.
Don't worry, I'll just reinforce you again. No, let's spawn this two right next to us, because I feel like this will be important. This is a rocket turret, Jalen. Nope.
Can they hurry up with this talking? I'm getting really impatient.
Bro, what did you watch?
Guys, you might want to turn
I'm watching the selection show.
Oh, I ran out of grenades. Never mind, I don't got this. Come on.
Alright. They're going to a little commercial break, then they're going to do the rankings.
They already announced them.
No, they did not.
So for Mom, I was thinking, well, she says she doesn't want any fries. Exactly. What if we get her the new iPhone 17 for AT&T? We can get the best deal without needing the most expensive plan. Well, she wants herself things.
Notre Dame is the most entitled team in college football, and it's not close. So many players talk about like their Ohio State,
Most expensive plan now required. Plus switch and we'll pay off your phone balance up to $80 per line.
Step into the world of Discretion.
title was in 1998.
The magic
That's 4
to
years ago.
every
You
morning.
know how many teams have won the title since then? 18. 18 teams. And yeah, how did they
Shop the holiday gift collection at Discretion.com.
ranked teams, elite teams? Oh
Right
yeah,
now,
they
at the
played
Home
Alabama,
Depot shop, Saturday savings, top
and
ranked
gets
brands
play
like
folks in the
They're
playoff.
all
They
in one,
get
wash and dry,
playoff.
on
They
the
get
6
ACC
days, wash and dry
championship.
time.
They get smoked every time. What's the last year's national championship?
You
Three
want
close,
that.
they almost won. They were down 31-7. So
Now
yes,
at
they
the
beat
Home
bad teams and they lose to good teams. That's not an elite team. Not Ohio State or Alabama or LSU.
You're not going to start
You're a slightly better version of Penn State. That's it. Notre Dame is the most entitled team.
Did you just saying that you're going to fetch me with the avocados from Mexico jingle?
Well, they make everything better. Tastes good. Good for you.
No way. Fucking roll it.
I'm gonna mute this microphone. Well, not really. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute this microphone real quick. All right, they're revealing the thing now. They're probably just gonna find a way to put Alabama in.
time for this prize. Who's counting? We are.
The path starts right now when you unveil
All right, here we go.
college football playoff. The journey goes to Miami Gardens, Florida, Hard Rock Stadium, January 19th. That is where the national championship game will be played. 12 teams in the field. The 5 highest.
Here we go. It's time to start the rankings.
Which conference they come from, and then the next 7 highest ranked teams after that will make up the 12 teams. So Zach, our graphics operator.
All right, let's see.
Ready to go. So let's start with the number one.
Number one's got to be Indiana, right? Yep, Indiana.
Indiana, number one for the first time in school history. And it wasn't an easier call you could make today.
If it wasn't obvious already, Indiana's number one.
To say what I think is what Signetti has done in Indiana in the past 2 seasons. Last season it was sort of like, okay, Indiana's a pretty good team, just a 1-year run. And then to come back and do what they did in this season, they haven't won a Big Ten since 1967. This football team is legitimate. I didn't understand how good they were on the defensive side and when they did in that game against Ohio State.
The first outright championship was 1945, just this year.
All right, number 2 should be Georgia.
The losingest team in the history of the sport. And now they go into this playoff number 1, the Signetti turnaround. With all due respect to
Oh, number 2's Ohio State.
Ohio State,
That's quite surprising, but okay.
national champions have been from the Big Ten, and 1 and 2.
So number 3 is probably then going to be Georgia and then Texas Tech.
A little bit of question. Would it be Georgia at 2? Would it be Ohio State at 2? Either way, I don't think you can really go wrong. Ohio State's looked dominant all season long. They did not play well offensively last night. They struggled in protection. Julian Sayin missed some throws, and they missed a chip shot field goal that would have potentially pushed that game into overtime. And the committee has looked in the past at, hey, good loss, close loss. We're not going to.
All right, who's number 3?
They don't in the case for the Buckeyes as well, and I think it probably makes a lot of sense to have them too. Now, we've talked about this quite a bit. Remember, this is different from last year, the first year of the 12-team field, where you had the 4 highest-ranked conference champions getting the bye. Now it's just 1 through 4, no matter what conference you're from. So you have 2 Big Ten teams at the top of the bracket. At number 3, we presume to be
Georgia.
champions.
It's probably going to be Georgia. Yep, it's Georgia.
Bulldogs advanced in the regular season, lost to Alabama with an impressive performance in Atlanta.
And then number 4 should be Texas Tech. I'm concerning.
No one knows who they are more than the Georgia Bulldogs. They are a physical team, and they'll take you to the phone booth. And if you can't deal with them in the phone booth, you got no shot of beating them. Control the line of scrimmage. They held Alabama to -3 yards.
All right, so Indiana and Ohio State and Georgia are the top 3 seeds.
But the season goes now. I don't think anybody wants to see this version of the Bulldogs.
All right, who's number 4? I'm expecting it to be Texas Tech.
Didn't work out well for them. Notre Dame beat them in the Sugar Bowl.
I'm expecting number 4 to be Texas Tech.
This time around, number 4 in the final 5, meaning not.
Yep, Texas Tech. The Red Raiders.
But the Red Raiders, Big 12 champion, their first conference championship since 1954, and the Red Raiders are seated fourth, and there they are, loving, celebrating when Joey McGuire and company have done.
Yeah, what they were able to do is beat BYU again. They forced 3 turnovers beating the first time regular season. Came back and did 1 better, forced 4. That defense against BYU was outstanding. That is a football team. We talk about their offense. Their defense is about as good as we've seen in the
All right, let's see.
Texas Tech, maybe not, and you know what? I believe with that defense, they can make a run. I'm not going to be shocked, especially if you get that national champion. That's on full. How they do after the quarterback? No doubt. You know, we have David Baylor, Melo Hyde, and with Hunter, defensive Jacob Rodriguez, best linebacker in the country, might be a Heisman Trophy finalist, if not winner. Now, team has a home game. Seeded number 5.
Who's number 5? Should be Oregon, right? Yep, Oregon.
So 3 of the top 5 teams in the country are from the Big Ten. The Atlantic team will open in Eugene.
And I just love, in terms of Oregon, they know who they are. Dante Moore's been playing outstanding. Kenny Sadiq, the best tight end in America. The physicality they exude. Another team that understands what their identity are. Haven't always played up to their part throughout the season, but they're starting to kick on all cylinders. And it's going to be a tough ask. Whoever has to go to Eugene and deal with the Ducks at Alton.
And it's upcoming numbers. The first one where there could be some drama at 6, because you look at it. All assuming that 11 and 12 are going to be G5 teams that win their conference.
I'm expecting Texas A&M to be number 6, but I could be wrong. Who is it?
When you take into account what your first round matchup might be, so will it be Ole Miss like it was last week, or will it be A&M who dropped big time after the loss to Texas?
Greg, that is a tremendous setup because it plays a huge role in who the first round.
It's Ole Miss. Despite losing Lane Kiffin. Ha ha ha. And then 7 could be A&M or Oklahoma.
And Oxford is going to be buzzing down there. Good for Pete Golden. He's now the permanent head coach. Lane Kiffin, the coach of LSU, allowed the OC, Charlie White Jr., to come back and call the plays. So now they have the staff together, and they're ready to make a run. Trinidad Chambliss, Kawan Lacey, this defense, they feel really good about what they have now in Oxford, Mississippi.
Ole Miss will have a home game, the biggest game in the history of Ole Miss football. World will be buzzing.
Unless they play like Tulane or whatever.
Another home game. 6-7.
All right, 7 is A&M.
Mike Elko's been lost for its regular season finale. Texas kept him out of the SEC.
And then number 8's got to be Oklahoma.
Home game with the winner getting Ohio State.
And I got to be honest, if I'm A&M, I have a bit of a gripe, frankly, because A&M, you look at their strength of schedule play, they're sitting there at 16. They're sitting one spot behind Ole Miss, whose strength of schedule resides at 41. You can say, well, the best win for Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Well, they went to Notre Dame and knocked off the Irish, who might be a top 10 team in the college football playoff team as well. So the first disagreement I have so far, but still, A&M, excellent football team.
So the final home game's going to go to Oklahoma, I'm assuming. Yep, Oklahoma. Now 9 through 12, there's going to be some controversy. They could do 11 and 12 first, just because of Tulane and James Madison, but I don't know.
Offense has been struggling. The defense has stepped up and made plays, created opportunities to make it easier on their offense. If they can play that way, they have a chance to make a run, but the offense has to get better.
Okay, these are the teams that have the home games, and while I agree with Greg, there's a lot that you could dispute about Ole Miss and Texas A&M and the order there. This was a relatively easy part.
Now, because of what we mentioned again, I just want to emphasize this, and I'm not trying to talk to everybody like they're kindergartners, but just remember, 2 more conference champions have to go into the field. They're highly unlikely to be ranked in the top 12, so they're going to displace 2 teams in the rankings. So that means there are only 2 spots left. These are the contestants. Alabama was lost in the SEC championship game, and the much ballyhooed debate between Notre Dame and Miami.
They're probably going to find a way to sneak in Alabama. Yep, Alabama's in. Alabama's in. Called it. They're playing Oklahoma on the road again. Oh, God. So is Alabama going to have a chance to finally beat Oklahoma? So it's either Notre Dame or Miami getting in.
Clearly drew conclusions about Alabama based on a 12-game sample size. And that's the way it should be evaluated when you take into account the teams they are being evaluated against have just 12 data points to evaluate. So Alabama in, needing to get back on track offensively, need desperately to get healthy. But they have an opportunity, like you said, Reese, to avenge that regular season loss.
I will say this. I understand the concept of not being overly punitive.
All right, so
But if you're going to play them, you need to have stakes both ways. The winner conference championship and what happens if you win.
They have to count somehow. And we're talking about Alabama maybe having the best win in the sport by going to Athens. They also have one of the worst losses by losing to Florida State. So we just cannot erase that. I'm surprised at this move right here.
The way they won confidence, you have to define loss by record. Absolutely. if you go by power rankings for states to top 30. I'm not trying to excuse it. I'm just saying all of these things you factor in and try to define it. So now we're basically back where we started. There's one spot left in terms of at-large teams, and it also is going to be Miami or Notre Dame.
Who is it?
So, number 10.
Oh, Miami's in. Miami is in. Notre Dame is out. Miami is in. Miami is in the playoff. Which I like this because they beat Notre Dame. Alright, and who's 10, 11, and 12? I'm expecting it to be Tulane and James Madison.
There's not a lot of difference in terms of the entire body of work. If you're looking at the analytics, the rates a little bit higher, FPI, which is a forward-looking measure, and basically the same everywhere else. So here's the thing to your point. We do this week in and week out. It's a because not the season is done, it's a resume contest. And so it's very easy to go back and compare these two teams when it comes to the resume contest because now that head-to-head has to come into it. The resume didn't change from Tuesday. I know, but everybody's resume is complete from the standpoint of their resume was already completed. But today doesn't change their resume. It was complete and we had it right on Tuesday. And so if we're going to make sense of this, as we're trying to watch it play out, if you want it to make sense, then make sense. If the resume was done on Tuesday, and on Tuesday Notre Dame was a better football team, and the resume has not changed a lick. Two teams were sitting on the couch, somehow down flip.
There was one team between and the BYU that lost. It's now moved back. Now if they're right next to each other, we're assuming BYU's moved back. We don't know what's over.
But it's true, but the way they do it is in larger groups. They should have already been prepared. So I don't differ with the decision.
Correct.
But now nothing. Nothing's changed.
Everybody's resume is now done, and at that point, I know it was already done. The entire season is now done.
They're arguing.
You have to compare the head-to-head, guys, and that's what we should have gone back and watched it like I did, and like I think several others did. When you watched that game, it might have been a 3-point margin. It felt like more.
They didn't.
They did. I think they absolutely did.
Okay, so nobody did. Now, this is obviously the most hot button topic among these three teams. And we're like, plenty of time for that. But there are two teams. We have two more. We've got two more conferences
All right.
to get in. You have to have
So Tulane should get in. They're the 11th seed. Yeah, Tulane's in. And number 12 should be James Madison, but if they somehow sneak Duke in, if the playoff committee somehow sneaks in the ACC in, Rahul, welcome to the stream. If they somehow sneak in the ACC, I'm gonna be pissed because it should be James Madison getting in. It should be James Madison getting in.
just because it was a block the first time doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get 5 touchdowns. John Summerall's a good coach. I think he'll have his team ready to play. Okay, let's go to the last spot that you will.
All right, who is it? It's James Madison. It's the JMU Dukes. Yeah, the streamers are flying. So James Madison is in the playoff. They will go to Oregon.
Ton of respect for what they do offensively and defensively. I think Bob Chesney is a revolutionary. This guy is big time. An incredible hire by UCLA. But he's got business to attend to because going on the road to Eugene will be a massive task.
So there it is. Those are your playoff rankings. Those are your playoff seeds. Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon. Notre Dame's first team out, by the way. So Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Miami, Tulane, and JMU. Who's the second team out? BYU. So there you go. Those are the playoffs. Imagine the ride it has been for James Madison. It almost feels like it hasn't felt that long ago that James Madison would still be dominating the FCS. Now here they are in the playoff.
Like we talked about before they released the rankings, and I think again it became a debate between Miami and Alabama. I think they got the nod.
Oh, I know who to troll. I know who to troll. I know who to troll.
We've always been trained and I know the truth is our show creates some drama, and it creates a lot of heartache and headaches for a lot of people to understand. But they really don't feel that their rankings are true until they get all of the data
Troll. I'm gonna be honest. If Miami didn't make the playoff, I was gonna troll Tyler Sports. But if Notre Dame didn't make the playoff, I was gonna troll Jordan Michael. So.
Like a stronger team, and then back out last second. Like I would have understood. Notre Dame's out. It has nothing to do with it. If Notre Dame was in the ACC, they would have took Miami over Notre Dame.
Miami did what they needed to do. They kept climbing the ladder, getting close enough. They did their job on the field, and eventually,
lost the 2 games that their biggest games. I find it BS that 2 teams who don't play a single team in the top 10 are in.
Shouldn't have lost to Miami.
I'm legit shocked. Shouldn't have lost to Miami? Yeah, well, it's the first game of the season. Join a if you say so. Shouldn't have lost to Miami? Yeah, that happens. Ole Miss for the natty. Tech at 5. Told you. Notre Dame is out.
That's why they ended up flipping Miami. Coach, I'm going to talk to Harvey Yurichek about this, but their protocol for ranking teams is the head-to-head should have mattered. It doesn't mean it has to be exclusively.
Talking to Tyler Sports, Miami's in.
All I'm saying is, I don't think we should create the idea and really consider it until they're right beside each other. That's not really how the protocol is set up. I'll go to Nick here. Nick, you see how this has turned out. What's your reaction to this decision and how the playoff rankings look?
Right. I think the fact of the matter is all 3 of those teams should have gotten in and deserved the right to play during the college football playoff. And for years now, we have kept tweaking the criteria of how we select teams to be in the playoff, whether it was a 2-team BCS, whether it was a 4-team playoff, and how.
So those are the rankings, and now I'm going to shut off the stream.
No disrespect to the group of 5 that are nowhere near ranked as highly as some other teams that are much better than them. And I think that maybe